The Lythanights were a people of shadows. They existed in the hushed whispers of the wind. They were a community veiled in secrecy. Their true origins were lost to time. Some spoke of a forgotten exodus, a flight from persecution. Others whispered of a pact made with ancient, unseen forces. Whatever their beginnings, the Lythanights had mastered the art of disappearing, of becoming invisible in a world that craved visibility. They were a whisper in the dark, a secret held close to the chest of the earth. They moved like ghosts through the dense forests and mist-choked valleys they called home. Their settlements were hidden deep within the emerald embrace of ancient woodlands. They were cunningly concealed, almost invisible to the untrained eye. Outsiders rarely caught more than a fleeting glimpse of their villages. A wisp of smoke rising from the trees, a flicker of white in the deep green, nothing more. And even then, they might question their own senses, wondering if they had imagined it all. The Lythanights guarded their secrets fiercely. They were a community built on whispers and shadows, and they preferred it that way. The outside world, with its clamor and chaos, held no allure for them. They had found sanctuary in their isolation, and they were determined to protect it at all costs. The Lythanights were masters of isolation. They had woven a tapestry of deterrence around their territory, a silent but deadly warning to any who dared to trespass. Their borders were not marked on maps, but they were clearly defined. Natural barriers, carefully cultivated over generations, formed the first line of defense. Dense thickets of thorny bushes, treacherous bogs, and fast-flowing rivers created a natural labyrinth. These natural obstacles were treacherous, designed to ensnare the unwary traveler. Yet, physical barriers were only the beginning. The Lythanights also employed more subtle methods of dissuasion. Rumors and legends about their community spread like wildfire among outsiders. Stories of poisoned arrows, vanishing travelers, and ancient curses abounded. These tales were often exaggerated, but they served their purpose. They instilled a deep-seated fear in the hearts of outsiders, a fear that kept most at bay. The laws governing trespassers were harsh and unambiguous. Any outsider caught within their territory was dealt with swiftly and severely. They believed in justice, swift and absolute. Mercy was a foreign concept, a luxury they could not afford. Their laws were harsh, but they were necessary for their survival. The lands surrounding the Lythanights' territory were largely uninhabited. Outsiders, fearing the whispered tales and the community's fearsome reputation, gave the area a wide berth. Hunters and trappers, typically the most daring of souls, steered clear. They knew that the bounty of the forest was not worth risking their lives. Merchants, seeking to expand their trade routes, avoided the region entirely. The potential profits were insignificant compared to the risks involved. Even the most foolhardy of travelers, those who scoffed at tales of danger and intrigue, found themselves strangely hesitant to approach. An almost tangible sense of unease permeated the air around the Lythanights' territory. It was as if the very forest itself was warning them to turn back. The isolation was self-imposed, a consequence of their own making. They were architects of their own solitude, and they clung to it fiercely. It was both their shield and their prison, a double-edged sword that had protected them for generations. Section 4. The world draped in grey. The Lythanights' world was a study in shades of grey. The sky, perpetually shrouded in mist, hung low and heavy over the land. The sun, a distant memory, rarely broke through the oppressive cloud cover. The forests, ancient and silent, were thick with towering trees. Their branches, heavy with moss and lichen, intertwined overhead, forming a dense canopy that blocked out what little light managed to penetrate the gloom. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth, decaying leaves, and the faint, sweet scent of wildflowers struggling to bloom in the perpetual twilight. The Lythanights mirrored their surroundings in their attire. They dressed in simple, utilitarian clothing, primarily in shades of white and grey. The fabric, woven from the wool of sheep they raised themselves, was coarse and unyielding. Their clothes were practical, designed to blend in with the environment and offer some protection from the elements. The stark white of their clothing provided a stark contrast to the pervasive greyness of their surroundings, a visual reminder of their otherness, their separation from the outside world. This starkness extended to their architecture. Their homes, built from wood and stone, were simple and functional, devoid of any ornamentation or extravagance. There were no bright colors, no displays of individual expression. Everything was designed to blend in, to be as unobtrusive as possible. Their world was one of muted tones and subdued sounds, a place where even the air seemed to hold its breath. Section 5. When Thoughts Take Form. The Lythanights possessed an unsettling ability. Their collective thoughts, fueled by fear and isolation, had a way of bleeding into the physical world. Their anxieties manifested as shadowy figures, flitting at the edge of their vision. Angels and demons, born from their deepest fears and fervent hopes, took shape in the swirling mists. These apparitions were not mere figments of imagination. They were tangible, capable of interacting with the environment, even influencing the thoughts and emotions of those around them.
At night, when the veil between the physical and ethereal realms thinned, these manifestations became even more vivid, more real.
The forests, already eerie in the half-light, transformed into a phantasmagoria of whispering shadows and glowing eyes.
The very air crackled with unseen energy, a palpable tension that set nerves on edge. This phenomenon, both a blessing and a curse, was a source of constant fear and fascination for the Lythanights. It was a testament to their power, a reminder of the fine line they walked between the mundane and the supernatural. It was also a constant source of paranoia, fueling their belief that the outside world was a dangerous and unpredictable place, best avoided at all costs. Section 6. A leader in denial. The Lythanights were led by an enigmatic figure known only as the Elder. The Elder, a man of indeterminate age, was shrouded in mystery. Some believed he was a descendant of the community's founders, a keeper of ancient knowledge and traditions.
Others whispered that he was more than human, that he possessed an unnatural longevity, granted by a pact with the very forces that haunted their world.
Regardless of his true nature, the Elder ruled with an iron fist, his authority absolute and unquestioned.
His rule was a complex mixture of wisdom and weariness, a constant reminder of the burdens he bore and the secrets he kept.